Good morning, everyone. I hope all of you are well. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the American economy, and then I'm going to take you on a quick trip to Taiwan. So hopefully you will enjoy this session. Yesterday, the Secretary of Treasury of the United States of America, Janet Yellen, has called for a more level playing field in terms of American corporations and its key trading partners. She wants to create a flat rate of taxation for American companies and also for the other countries that are trading with America. This seems quite ambitious. I'm not believing this will happen anytime soon. However, it's a very democratic behavior that we are observing. Janet Yellen's ambition comes to reinforce Joe Biden's plan to tax American corporations and use this money to restructure Americans' infrastructure. So it will be very interesting to see how this is playing off. The index of activity that was due to be released yesterday by the Institute of Supply Management in the US came out with a fantastic score. Anything about 50% is typically a positive sign for the US economy, but it came out with a 67% score. So this is a sign that is very promising to the American economy. It's showing signs of recovery. Another thing that I think it's interesting to look at is to look at the VIX indicator. I'm going to share a screenshot of a VIX chart, so the volatility index, and you can see that over time this chart has been declining in terms of volatility. You can see that in the beginning of 2020, when the corona pandemic kicked in, it completely skyrocketed, and now there's a declining trend. I've added an arrow so you guys can track it or can at least identify it. If you look, the levels of volatility are decreasing. However, if you look at the previous 3 years anticipating 2020, you can see that the levels of volatility were still significantly inferior to the volatility levels that we are seeing today. Now we are going to Taiwan. Taiwan is the 20th biggest economy by GDP in the world. A tiny island close to Japan, 1 hour flight from Japan, has become an economic powerhouse. For those of you who don't know, not only there's a trade war going on between US and China, but there's also a high-tech war going on between the US and China / I would mention also Taiwan. The reason I have chosen Taiwan today is that there's a company that is in the center of the global news today, which is TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. This company is producing 50% of the semiconductors worldwide and on an annual basis has exported over $300 billion worth of semiconductors to China. This is a huge figure, and China is then exporting this to other countries in the world. China has tried historically to get a hand on this Taiwanese IP. It has tried to poach a lot of talent from this Taiwanese company onto China, but it has not been very successful. As a result of some discussions between US and Taiwan during the Trump administration, TSMC committed to building a $12 billion plant to produce semiconductors in the US. The truth is that currently there's this shortage in semiconductor chips, and it has impacted loads of industries. There were delays in PlayStation launch, there were delays in iPhone 12 launch. Everything was disrupted with this kind of spike in semiconductor demand. Simultaneously, automotive production plants were stopped. So these companies that were producing semiconductor chips were receiving a lot of demand from other industries other than the automotive industry. At the same time, there's a massive Bitcoin boom going on. So a lot of people who are mining these Bitcoins are also seeking these semiconductor chips. Suddenly, there's a backlog in the automotive industry. There are not enough chips and the car industry starts to struggle. This company in Taiwan, TSMC, is incredibly profitable, and the reason for this is that most of its plants are relatively close to each other and they have huge operational efficiency. Now that there's this whole massive global demand for semiconductors, different countries like the US and even European countries are wanting to domicile this semiconductor production. Will this happen? As an investor, at the end of the day, it's about identifying growth, but also understanding supply and demand forces. What are the industries that are sought after? What are the industries that are booming? Which were the industries that are struggling? And how do all the suppliers for these industries and associated companies are performing or not? I think Taiwan has been magnificent in terms of economic development and also protecting its own IP from China. I'm believing these companies will remain very successful and very profitable. However, from an investment perspective and an investment standpoint, you need to look at things like profitability and efficiencies. At the moment, a lot of the production, or most of its production, if not all, is done in Taiwan. So from a physical perspective, there are a lot of operational efficiencies that can be gained. Currently, this company is tremendously profitable. Could this company maintain its profitability, or can this company maintain its profitability while expanding internationally? Guys, that's all for today. I hope it was useful. If it was, and if you liked it, and if you learned a little bit more about investing, economic affairs, and global financial markets, please drop a comment, hit the like button, and show some love. Guys, I wish you an amazing day. That's all for today.